Hello, and welcome to our second slide deck on geography, which is going to be all about physical features. Our student expectation, I will define and give examples of transportation corridors and transportation barriers, as well as describe various physical features. So first, I guess I should present this. That would be nicer for y'all. Looking at physical features. These are landforms on Earth, and so sometimes you'll hear the word landform, sometimes you'll hear physical features, sometimes you'll hear geographic features. It's all the same thing. So some examples we have are like mountains, rivers, lakes, forests, deserts. I'm sure you can think of multiple others, but it's just basically any physical, feature that's on the Earth, hence the name physical features. So the first one we're talking about is mountains, which is a physical feature with high elevation created by two tectonic plates pushing against each other. If you take science with Miss Bass, she's probably gone over those different plate tectonic movements with you. One of those creates mountains. And so in the United States, we have the Rocky Mountains over to the west. And then in the east, we have the Appalachian Mountains. And because mountains are rocky, and when it rains, all the water slides down. When the water slides down, that creates soil erosion. It's really nearly impossible to farm on mountains. And so the Inca in Peru fixed this by making something called terrace farming or step farming in the Andes Mountains of South America, which you can see the Andes Mountains here in this map. And then here is a picture of what terrace farming looks like. Deserts. These are any area of land with limited amount or a scarce amount of precipitation. Deserts are typically seen as being like hot, sandy, and arid. Arid meaning hot during the day and freezing during night. And technically Antarctica though is a desert because there is a very huge lack of rainfall there. So resources in deserts are scarce, and there's not usually large populations of people located in deserts unless humans modify the environment. For example, Las Vegas. It's a huge reservoir of water brought by humans. Awesome. So jungle and rainforests. This is a tropical area, usually thick with plant and animal life. Rainforests exist near the equator in Central America, South America, Africa, and then even over here in these Philippine, Indonesian islands over here. And an example that we will be looking at soon will be the Amazon rainforest here in South America. Archipelago, that is a group or a chain of islands. Usually these are made from volcanoes. Examples would be Hawaii and the Caribbean islands. Peninsula is a piece of land that is surrounded by water on three sides. An example is Florida. And the way that I think of peninsula is when you look at the first letter, which is a P, this round part here kind of sticks out. So, P for peninsula, and the letter is a peninsula. Canal is a man-made waterway built to allow ships to travel or to allow water in for plant or human life. An example that we'll look at soon is the Panama Canal. The ocean, large expanse of salt water. There are 5 main ones that we already looked at. Many cities are formed along the ocean coast, because it's easy for people to ship supplies there, and super great for tourism. And so usually along, you can see here in the United States, there's a lot of what's called ports, which is a city where trading ships can load and unload supplies. Rivers are large natural streams of water flowing in a channel to the sea, lake, or ocean. Some examples, we have the Mississippi River in North America. We also have the Amazon River in South America. Here in North America, the Mississippi River starts in the north, and then it flows out to the Gulf of Mexico. And so if you've been to New Orleans, you may have seen the Mississippi River close at the mouth of the river. And then here in the Amazon River, it flows out toward the Atlantic Ocean. Lakes. So these are bodies of water surrounded by land. And most lakes, and this is something new I learned, most lakes are freshwater if there are rivers feeding fresh water into the lake. Lakes without any rivers are usually salt water, and so those are called closed lakes, meaning that there is no source of fresh water coming into the lake. So what happens is water evaporates and leaves behind the salts, and yeah, that's how you get the Salt Lake in Utah. So the Great Lakes that we will be looking at are these Great Lakes here, which border between the United States and Canada. And the acronym HOMES is usually used to remember the Great Lakes, so HOMES, right, HOMES. You've got Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and S, Superior. Holmes, H-O-M-E-S. And by the way, Miss Cray lived right about here, really close to Lake Erie. So just throwing in some Lake Erie love. All right, Isthmus is a narrow strip of land with water on each side. I like to think of this as a land bridge, and the example that we'll look at is Central America. Also, you will hear about the Isthmus of Panama, which is located right here where my mouse is. Right, it connects North America to South America, and see we've got water on each side. We've got the Caribbean Sea. We also have the Pacific Ocean. The canyon. It's a deep valley with steep sides. Most canyons have a river or a stream flowing through the bottom. This is a place I've always wanted to go, is the Grand Canyon. One day I'll get there and I'll put my own pictures. Yeah, very, very, very beautiful places. And transportation barriers. These are physical features that block human movement or travel. Physical features that are transportation barriers usually are mountains, deserts, thick jungles, rainforests, right? Anything that makes it really, really hard for people to travel, especially in mass groups. And so if you look at this map here of the 13 colonies, notice the location of the 13 colonies, right? They're all pretty clustered on the eastern coast. Right? We probably have some ports over here, bringing in that freshly learned vocabulary. But if you've ever wondered, like, how come these colonists didn't spread out more toward the west? Well, the Appalachian Mountains are here, right? Acting as a transportation barrier, preventing these colonists from expanding westward. Transportation corridors, on the other hand, these are any body of water that helps people, or that helps the movement or travel of people. And so examples of transportation corridors, we've got oceans, rivers, lakes, and canals. Typically, there's one exception of one body of water, but all body of waters are considered transportation corridors, at least in the curriculum that I'm supposed to be teaching you. So the Panama Canal is a really, really choice example here, because you can remember canals are man-made, right? And so here, the Panama Canal, before this was made, if somebody from California wanted to trade over to with somebody in Virginia, right, or I don't know, some East Coast port, they would have to sail around the tip of South America, right? Follow that red line. It's incredibly long. And then here at the tip, tons of icebergs. So not only is the journey longer, but it's also more dangerous. However, with the building of the Panama Canal, the trip is shortened considerably. So it makes trade a lot easier. So those are transportation corridors. And benefits of building cities near water. Water is amazing, right? It's really the source of life. Water is provided for crops, cooking, and for hygiene. Trade is a whole lot easier. Remember, these are transportation corridors. Also, with it being a transportation corridor, it's a lot easier to ship the building of materials. So when you think of like major cities and industry, with water, it's just so much easier to ship those supplies. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope this was beneficial for you. Happy whatever day it is that you're watching this. Bye.